What's going on, everyone? Mike Sparacino, a.k.a. Shades here, alongside Brendan Mulroy, a.k.a. Mulgoon, a.k.a. The Big Goon, via Skype tonight. Back with another episode of Backup Blueshirts. Brendan, episode number 27. Who we dedicating it to?
27, Mike. Gotta keep it classic. Gotta go with 94. 94 championship team. Gotta go with my boy Kovalov. It was his rookie season, 94. Guy wins the cup. What an absolute animal.
And let's also not forget the first person, according to the website I'm checking, to wear number 27 for the Rangers is none other than Chris Jericho's dad, Ted Irvine.
I do remember reading Chris Jericho's book and reading that his dad was in the NHL and played for the Rangers, and I was like, what the hell? How did I not know this?
That was his first book, right?
Yeah, his first book. Yeah.
I
just thought that
that was
pretty funny.
I would love to say I read that book, but I only read like a fourth of it, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, it was solid. It was solid.
Oh no, dude, I read like the first 120 pages. It was fucking awesome, but now I got to start all over again. But anyway, those are the two guys we're dedicating this episode to. Sorry for anybody who wanted it to be dedicated to Ryan McDonough, but our podcast, we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Well, unfortunately, we gotta get to the bad news, Shades.
Yeah, let's get.
We might as well just get to the bad news now. That way we continue with some good news.
Yeah, we can end on a good note.
Exactly. So, Mike, why don't you update everybody? If I'm sure they already know anyway, but we're gonna update them anyway.
Well, if you don't know, you live under a rock. But the NHL, along with the NBA, currently has suspended all play indefinitely, unfortunately, due to the coronavirus.
Yeah, and I'm sure you saw, obviously, Bettman put out a little statement, and he was just basically saying how they are going to resume play when it's appropriate, and they really want to see them complete the season and see somebody lift the Stanley Cup.
Speaking of getting back to play when it's appropriate, how do you think this is going to work out if they end up fully canceling what would be the rest of the regular season in terms of date-wise?
Probably one of the worst endings to an NHL season of all time, and also would probably sting just a little bit more for Rangers fans as well, considering we're right there and we wouldn't make the playoffs if the season ended. So that would be pretty rough.
Now, say they do finish the regular season, but they postpone the games to accommodate finishing the regular season plus a full Stanley Cup run. Could you see that happening, or do you think it would be too short of an off-season for the players and the ripple effects that would come with that?
Oh, so you're talking about, just to have me clarify, you're saying that they, instead of like canceling it, just postponing it and then playing at a later date.
Yeah, and finishing the regular season and going through the full playoffs.
That if they can keep the delay, like if they can keep what's going on, like if it can return within a week or two, I think that's a possibility. But if it becomes like a 3-week thing or like a monthly thing, they're gonna have to figure something else out.
In my opinion, if it goes...
I have a recommendation. Honestly, what they should do is they should just simulate a game of NHL 20. And whoever wins it, listen, I mean, because at that point, you have a better chance, you know what I mean?
True. I would... here's a suggestion that I just thought of. If, say, they resume play when there's like a day or two to go in the regular season, do you think it would be at least a halfway decent idea to say every team plays their remaining, like the last 5 games that they have scheduled in the season, they play those 5 games? Or do you think they should do something where every team finishes with the same amount of games played and go from there?
That's a pretty good question. I mean, I would be okay with that because that could still give the Rangers a chance to make the playoffs. Obviously, I'm not looking at the standings right now, so I don't know how that could affect other teams that may be, 10 games out, which is probably a long shot, but you never know. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not a possibility. I mean, I'm assuming the NHL is probably thinking about, we'll just suspend it now and then hopefully we can come back sooner than later. But yeah, I think they made the right call though. I mean, because you don't want to risk it, and then next thing you know, somebody gets sick, and then the whole team's sick, and then what do you do from there? So makes a lot of sense.
And that's when you start shooting people. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, I know, but it's definitely a crazy situation right now. Like you said, the NBA has canceled the season indefinitely. Also, I'm sure you saw as well, they're canceling a lot of the college basketball tournaments, as well as the MLB is also putting a hold on spring training right now as well. So,
actually, you know what? I got one last thing on this particular
and tennis
topic
as well. They actually canceled a couple upcoming tournaments. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, what was it? At least 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I got one last, I wouldn't say solution, but I guess a possibility on this topic. Every team, Montreal's the only team with more than 70 games played at 71, and there's been talk recently, again for some reason, about, and of course it's Pierre LeBrun bringing this up, about an in-season tournament at the end of the regular season. This is the only reason that I would get behind this in this particular instance. If it was a full regular season with no public health concern, disease going around, I would be like, absolutely not. But at the same time, with this particular situation going on, do you think it would be, like, I personally would be behind this, and this is the only situation where I would get behind this, about an in-season regular oh my god, I worded that so badly.
Regular season, like,
yeah, like a play-in tournament for the playoffs with the 2 wild cards, and then the arguably the 2, 3, or 4 teams that are right outside the wild card.
Oh, okay. So in other words, like, anybody that's actually in the clear for the playoffs right now, that's locked into those spots besides the wild card, would make it to the playoffs automatically, and then they would battle for the wild card spots.
Yeah. Sorry about everyone who just had to deal with me going through that, because I don't think before I speak half the time, obviously.
No, so I mean, listen, if that, I would be more okay with that, like you were saying, than them just abruptly ending the season, because that kind of just sucks, and especially, I mean, I'm going to look at the positives of this from the Rangers side. If they do bring back the season, the Rangers could actually heal up a little bit as well. I think that gives, like, obviously gives Kreider more time to come back from the broken foot, which we're going to get into in a second. But right now we also lost Hedl to a lower body injury.
Yep.
And it gives them more time to recover, and not that he looked like he needed any more recovery after the last game, but also Shesterkin, I mean, coming back from the car accident as well, I'm sure he could use some rest. So yeah, I mean, that's probably the only positive thing to take away from it, from the Rangers side of things moving forward.
Yeah, it gives them a chance to get healthy.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I'm taking away. It might be a sick, viewpoint, but that's what I'm thinking.
Well, you play NHL 20 on almost a daily basis, so you are a pretty sick man.
Like I said, Shades. I mean, and if the NHL wants to take my suggestion, I will actually simulate the games if they want. I could be the designated shell simulator. So, But anyway, what's enough of this coronavirus? I had enough of it. Let's move on, Mike, and we got to talk about Mika Zibanejad right away.
Oh, you mean Jesus?
I mean, this guy is just an absolute animal.
Yeah, dude, he's on a heater, man.
Yeah, this guy's on an absolute rampage. I mean, why don't you just read off some of those stats that we got, Shades? I mean, just next level.
Oh, I was actually going to prefer you reading this off because you have the notes right in front of you.
All right, sounds good. So obviously this guy's just been doing so much that I literally had to write it down because I'm like, I don't want to forget anything. So let's get into the way obviously he's played. I mean, as of last night, he's got 23 goals in the last 22 games. That's
insane.
First in the NHL since the All-Star break. That's an 11. That's 11 in a 6-game goal streak for Zibanejad. So in the last 6 games, he's had 11 goals, which is out of control. And also, he is the first Rangers. This is one of those stats where I'm like, all right, this is a little ridiculous, but he's the first Ranger ever to score 12 goals in 13 games. In a 13-game stretch. Yeah. I don't know if I read that right, but I'm pretty sure that's... Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a second here. Does that make sense?
I think what you meant to say is he's the first Ranger to score in 12 games in a 13-game span.
Yes, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. I just had a brain fart.
It's all good.
Yeah, and then obviously continuing, that game against Washington, 5-goal game.
Mika's literally the only reason we won that game.
Yeah, out of control. I mean, that game got really intense at the end, though, the back and forth there for a little while.
Yes, it did.
But dude, that's crazy to think. And also, just what are the chances that 93 seasons that it's only happened 2 other times? So he's the 3rd player ever in Rangers history to score 5 goals in a game. That's insane. So that right there just sums it up how much of an insane year this guy's having. Mike, what are your thoughts on it? I'm curious.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I thought he was going to, going into the season, I thought he was going to get, maybe max out at 35 goals and 80 points, and he is just free.
Yeah.
He's proven me... I don't want to say he's proven me wrong, because we all knew how good he was, but I didn't think we knew he was going to be this good.
Yeah. I mean, dude, from 2017, 2018, the guy improved ridiculously.
Oh, tremendously.
I mean, to the next season. So, obviously, his jump was insane. He went from 2017, 2018, he had 47 points, and the next season he flipped that over to 74. So that was in almost, a 30-point increase?
Yeah.
27-point increase. And this year, he's already topped his career high, and he's only played 57 games.
Yes.
75 points.
He's missed 13 games, and he scored 40 goals.
Yeah, he's out of control. And that was what I was going to take it, was my next point about him. He also scored 40 goals. First player since Rick Nash, as we know. And before him, Gaborik.
You rubbing your hands over there? What the hell's going on?
I was. I was getting fired up, that's all.
Oh, gotta love it.
Yeah, but this guy, man, 57 games, he got 75 points. He's literally on fire. And then, of course, and I feel like this is Rangers' luck, Zibanejad catches fire, season comes to a halt because of coronavirus. So that kind of aggravated me in that sense, because I feel like we always get some sort of, and even Zibanejad in his career, whether it's been the concussion or
the broken leg.
Yeah, the broken leg. I feel like this guy always gets unlucky. Also, I feel like Buchnevich is also in this category.
Was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, but we also got to talk about a couple of games in between Zibanejad being hot. We got to talk about the Devils game, because that's a game that sticks out, where it's, especially after the Washington game.
Yeah.
And obviously that was a huge win for the Rangers against Washington, considering they were leading the division at the time. And then to follow up against the Devils, who obviously made so many moves at the deadline. Really not a good team right now on paper, but they're actually playing well, which is kind of surprising. I think they were 6-1-2 in the last 9 games before entering against the Rangers. I just remembering that off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, they were playing pretty well going into that game on Saturday.
They were playing well, but I mean, I still think that's one the Rangers got to have. And
dude, the friggin' their effort and their compete level was not there against the Devils.
Yeah, we got absolutely walked on. It was pretty bad. And, unfortunately, that had to be a game that Shesty had come back from the car accident.
Yeah.
I don't want to say he didn't look good, but obviously that was a game where we just were not good all around. And that was his one game out of the last, 13 he's played where he's looked good, or 12 or 13, whatever he's played. But, whatever, he had if you want to call it a bad game. But one thing, I love to see at that game, though, I will say, is third period, Hank comes in, doesn't give up a goal, thank God.
And he had to make a couple really good saves, too.
That's what I was going to say. Well, classic Rangers. Lundqvist is in net. Okay, Lundqvist is in net. 10 seconds into the period, Jack Hughes has a breakaway. How does that happen?
Because it's the Rangers.
But anyway, yeah. That was nice to see at the end of that game, so that's a positive I'll take away from that. Yeah, and also, while we're on the subject of talking about the games here, let's talk about the Dallas game. Because I thought, to me, that was definitely a nice rebound. We win 4-2 against Dallas. What were your biggest takeaways from that game?
Well, to be honest, one of them was, I didn't know this going into the game, but Dallas had lost, I think, 4 in a row going into that, and they got shut out the prior 2 games. And when Dallas scored in the third period, I had no clue. That was their first even-strength goal in, 4 games.
Yeah, Dallas definitely struggling. I saw Jamie Benn's point totals on the season. I think he's only got 30 points.
Well, dude, Dallas is literally pulling a Dallas. They not scoring down the stretch, and it's killing them.
Yeah.
But another takeaway is the first 40 minutes of that game were brilliant.
Oh, yeah, the Rangers absolutely dominated them all around. And that's nice to see because I feel like generally Ben Bishop usually steals games against the Rangers, but we kind of just walked all over them. Just really good passing. Like you said, the first 2 periods definitely dominant. It was nice to see Kakko get 2 goals.
Was going to bring that up, yeah, especially that second one where he deked Bishop out. Oh, man, dude, that had to have been a huge boost for his confidence.
I was going to say, that was nasty. What I didn't like about that game, though, was definitely the third period.
Was going to say that, too.
That's not a third period you want to play. That was the game that we had just mentioned before that Hedel went down due to injury. So for him to go down in injury, not have him, and I believe Fost was also missed part of that third period as well. So to not have those 2 guys out there, plus not having Kreider, that probably had a lot to do with it, but it's still not an excuse,
Hey, well, they still won, so.
Yeah, well, they won because of Shesterkin, I would say, because he really held it together in that third period.
Yeah.
Which was another just bounce back, huge win for him as well. Not that his confidence was low or anything like that, but, still to have that's definitely had to be a pretty big boost for him as well. Yeah, and why don't we get into last night's game? Unfortunately, I missed the third period of that game because I got really tired.
I only caught the third period because that's pretty much when I got home.
Yeah, it was a late start. The 10 o'clock game, I knew I'm surprised I actually made it into the second period. You know how my sleep is.
Yeah, dude, you're asleep at 8:30 sometimes, and I'm just like, how?
I know I am. I like to sleep. What can I say? But,
yeah, so do I, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but we ended up losing that game last night to Colorado in overtime. Unfortunately, like I said, I missed the third period. I missed overtime, but I know we tied it with 12 seconds left in the third period, right?
Yeah, dude. Panarin to Buchnevich, and that was just a filthy deflection.
I actually didn't even see the highlight, unfortunately.
Dude, Buchnevich got so heavy. I was just like, this is the Buch that I need to see. No, dude, Panarin threw it to the net, and you couldn't even tell what the hell it hit, even on the replay, but I'm just giving full credit to Buch for that deflection. It looked like it went off the middle of the shaft of his stick, and I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's nasty. I didn't see it, but I'll look it up and watch it.
Yeah, but right before that, friggin' Brendan Lemieux decides to more or less headshot. It was Jonas Donskoy, right?
It was Donskoy, yeah. Poor guy's been getting absolutely abused by the Rangers this season.
Yeah, so Lemieux decides to take a stupid headshot, puts himself in the penalty box, almost costs us the game at that point, and even though we tied it with 12 seconds left, Quinn had the audacity to put Brendan Lemieux back on the goddamn ice after that fucking penalty. But he, earlier in the season, benches Kakko after a holding penalty to set an example. How about you set an example right fucking there when one of your players takes an even more stupid and worse penalty and you put him on the ice in fucking overtime? And on top of that, he's a guy who doesn't score goals. He's got like 5 this season.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, especially with the way... we got to talk about this for a little bit. I agree with you there.
Dude, I remember the last text I sent in our group chat last night was seriously, Quinn can go fuck himself tonight. Because, dude, I was legitimately pissed at that.
Yeah, I don't understand that, that call, like you said. I mean, obviously you never want to, in that circumstance, and we saw the hit, and I wanted to talk about it a little later, but screw it while we're on the topic. I mean, that was just an unnecessary hit. I mean, it's probably like 5-6 seconds late, complete elbow to the face. He's definitely, like you said, he probably is going to get a suspension for that. We're expecting maybe like what do you think, like 2 or 3 games? I'd be shocked if he doesn't get any.
I'm expecting at least 1 or 2.
I mean, considering he already did get a suspension this year, right? Earlier in the year.
I think so.
Yeah, so for him, that was not good. And like you said, for him to get, if you want to, really gets rewarded. I mean, I don't know why. Like you said, to be back there on the ice in the overtime doesn't quite make any sense. Like I said, I just feel like we were talking with Liam, who we've had on the podcast before, for anybody that doesn't know who Liam is. Good friend of ours, but we have a group chat and we were talking about it, and we were very confused by the call. Especially, I just feel like in certain situations, like it's almost like Quinn kind of playing his favorites at this point. I don't really understand why.
That's what it looked like.
Especially after the circumstance of the penalty at the time, in that tight of a game where you're down a goal, and then somebody takes that bad of a penalty. He shouldn't have touched the ice.
No, I remember texting when the penalty happened. I said Lemieux should be glued to the bench for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And he's back out on the ice for some goddamn fucking reason.
I feel like even freaking AV would bench some of our veteran guys occasionally, very rarely, but
very rarely.
I feel like I've seen a similar kind of play happen with like Ryan McDonough back in the day, where he had made like a just really bad play. Even though it was McDonough, they didn't care. They just benched him. But sometimes you have to use that as to set the example. But yeah, just going back to the concept what you're saying about having him on a 3-on-3, it just, like you said, he doesn't really score goals. I mean, the only reason I can really see him being out there is because Quinn just likes that he skates fast. But honestly, like, in that case, I'd rather have somebody like Di Giuseppe out there or somebody like,
Dude, it's 3-on-3 overtime against a stacked Colorado team, and you're fighting for a playoff spot. Lemieux should not be seeing overtime ice.
Yeah, I agree. It should be, obviously, your best forwards. I mean, if I had to choose people to be out there, I'd probably pick Strome, Panarin, D'Angelo, or Fox, Panarin, Buchnevich, somebody along those lines. I mean, obviously, I guess you would have to have a center, so Panarin and Buch probably wouldn't be out there at the same time.
Honestly, my go-to 3 men would be Panarin, Zibby, and Fox.
Oh, yeah, Zibanejad. How did I not mention him? What an idiot I am.
What an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to go with your hottest guys. I mean, it's on the back end, especially because 3-on-3 is offensive-driven, I feel like I would probably go with Fox or D'Angelo.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably go Fox because D'Angelo would be better suited in probably a second tier of guys. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't understand. I would love to hear what Quinn's explanation was for that. Did anybody actually ask him that in media?
Dude, I was exhausted, so once the game ended, I went up, and 2, I didn't even want to put the post game on after that. I was just so mad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in this case, we did still get the point. We did tie the game with 12 seconds left. So I guess for us to even get a point, we should be lucky. But when you have a chance to, get the second point and you don't get it, kind of a little disappointing.
Hey, but Brendan, on the bright side, my tweet about Lemieux last night, it got 6 likes. So
some might brag about that. Some might say that's not good, Mike.
Hey,
But
dude, for me
whatever.
to get 6 likes on Twitter, that's me getting like.
That's like 6 million.
No, that's friggin' like that's like 200 likes on Instagram, and that's happened like once. So.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, unfortunately, what's going on with this coronavirus here, the Rangers are not going to be playing in Arizona on Saturday night, unfortunately.
Yeah, the team flew back to New York instead of flying there.
Yeah, I mean, the only benefit going into that Colorado game was that we did get the update that Chris Kreider did practice with equipment on, which is a nice step. The night before, he was not practicing with equipment. He just had his skates on with, like, the Rangers sweatsuit. So hopefully he's eyeing the return shortly. Well, if there is a season for him to come back to.
We'll see.
But another one as well, Filipino, out day-to-day with a lower body injury. So that one sucks as well. I think it was like the way he got hit in the Dallas game. I think he got like hit against the boards. It was very awkward. So that definitely set him back for a little bit. But I guess at this point, we got some time to recover. So if he was going to get injured, I guess this was a decent time for it to happen.
Well, there's never a good time. So.
Well, there's never a good time, but better now than, down the line.
Yeah, true.
So, Mike, let's talk about some other things that happened during the week here that weren't games, and that was on the prospect front of things, which...
Oh, I was going to say, before we get into the prospect thing, I bowled my second 300 on last Sunday, man.
That's right. Congrats,
Woo!
kid.
Woo!
Kid's an absolute beast.
Friggin', I also raised my average 2 pins within the last, 3 weeks, so I'm doing good.
This kid's on fire.
I'm on fire!
Kid's an absolute savage.
All right, but now let's get back to the Rangers. I liked it. I love bowling, but let's get back to the Rangers.
Yeah, well, let's get back to the Rangers, Mike. Nice little signing for them this week. They added center Patrick. Please, I'm going to try this as best as I can, but I think I got it. Kodorenko.
I was gonna pronounce it the exact same way. So
Kodorenko.
I think you did a pretty good job.
He's 21 years old. He's an undrafted free agent out of Michigan State, and he's gonna join Hartford on an ATO. What is that? Amateur tryout, Shades?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I had to do a little research about this kid because I was curious, but I just wanted to look up, points and stuff, so I was able to pull some numbers. He registered 54 goals, 66 assists for 120 points in 143 games. In that time, he was selected to a Big Ten second All-Star team, 2018-19. But this is one thing I did really like to see, and you want to see this from young players because you never want to get a guy that's been hurt like 50, 100 times before he's even made the NHL. But he's actually has not missed a game throughout his 4 seasons in his collegiate career, which I thought that was pretty awesome. So, I mean, I'm sure durability had a lot to do with that as well. Could be a possible reason why. Also, I guess it's never a bad idea to have another center in the pipeline, especially what's going on with Anderson. So.
Dude, you can never have enough center and defensive prospects.
Yeah. And also, though, I didn't look up Anderson's stats, but apparently he has been scoring some goals in the SHL, so that's nice to see as well. Yeah,
that's another situation in itself, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. What did you think of the move, Shades? I mean, obviously, since it's an ATO, I guess there's really no risk in making the move at all. And listen, you never know. Maybe the kid could pan out. Rangers have gotten some luck with guys from college, so I like it.
Yeah, well, okay, well, I mean, VC was... Nah. VC was forgettable, but Hayes was a good signing out of college, and I'm missing
Kreider?
Chris Kreider. Well, no, they drafted him. So.
They drafted him? Well,
Yeah.
that's true, but technically he played in college, so that's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Kevin Hayes is another one, your boy. Um, but
oh, wait, funny
also,
story about Kevin Hayes real quick. Me and Brendan are involved in a Secret Santa with a bunch of guys we play hockey with, and the theme of this Secret Santa was to get ourselves joke jerseys. And of course, I got Brendan magically. Of course, I had to get him the Goat Mark Stahl jersey, obviously. And one of our friends who had me got me a Philly Kevin Hayes jersey. And that, as soon as I walked home, I had Brendan, you were there at my house. I let you take a picture with it, and I left it on my couch, never to be touched since. The only reason the jersey's in my bag now is because my mom put it there.
Hey, listen, kid. Whenever you're ready to step up and rep Hayes, it's there for you.
Okay, first off, if I'm ever wearing a Philly jersey, it's going to be a Lindros jersey. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's an acceptable Philly jersey. But I thought it was hilarious anyway.
Oh no, it was pretty funny. I was mad, but it was funny.
I thought that was great. But also on the prospect front of things, Shades, we got our boy Keandre Miller. He's also going to try. Well, he has not signed it yet, but it sounds like it's leading down the path to him signing on an ATO as well for Hartford.
Yeah, because his season at Wisconsin ended.
Yeah, and apparently did not come to a good end, so I'm assuming they did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, actually, I was reading an article the other day. They had a great start to the season, and then, for whatever reason, just everyone just started struggling, and then the team basically fell off a cliff.
Yeah, it's not good.
No,
it's not at all. But, hey, listen, I mean, I'm pretty sure in certain cases, so I don't know if this follows with Miller as well, because he's already technically drafted. So I guess it's in a different case. But for example, with Kodorenko, he actually, even if he makes the Hartford team, he can't actually play in the playoffs because they acquired him after the deadline.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know if that follows in Miller's case because they've already technically had him, I guess. I don't know. How do you think that works?
I think it would be the same thing.
Yeah, that would make sense because technically he didn't get to Hartford till after the deadline.
Yeah, I think it would be the same thing.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense because then, if they allowed that, then I'm sure, players from other leagues people would try to, get them to come over just to make a run. Yeah. But
yeah, honestly, well, I mean, the AHL suspended play too, right? Did they?
Say it again?
Did the AHL suspend play? Yeah, right?
That's a good question. I didn't see any updates, but I'm just going to assume that with everything else that's going on.
All right, well, I honestly haven't seen a report, so let's say they, hypothetically, even though they're probably going to cancel games, hypothetically, let's say they didn't. I mean, Howden and Gauthier can still play, if that was the case. Because, I mean, that'd be a boost to Hartford, but they're probably going to cancel games too.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Also, let's talk about another
speaking
nice
of contracts.
Yeah, speaking of contracts, let's talk about Gordon and Chris Drury got new contracts.
Yeah, multi-year extensions to general manager Jeff Gordon and assistant general manager / general manager of the Hartford Wolfpack and ex-Ranger Chris Drury.
Yeah, I mean, can you really think of any Rangers fan that would honestly is disappointed about this? Because I don't.
There's always the select few who like to be difficult.
That's true. But anyway, listen, we just gotta think back about the absolute robbery. This is what I always think about Gord. I mean, he's obviously had some ridiculous trades already, but when you think about the absolute robbery that took place when we picked up Mika Zibanejad.
Oh, dude, robbery is just not the right word. That was grand larceny.
Yeah, whatever you want to call getting Mika Zibanejad and somehow as well a second-round pick for Derek Brassard.
And a seventh.
When you think about it, now that's just an absolute destruction of a trade by the Rangers. But at the time, it it took a little while to unfold that way. Because think about it. At the time, they both had literally identical seasons, which I believe at the time was around 50 points. But also, when you think back, though, like, if the Senators wanted Brassard for the playoffs and to make a run, like, it almost paid off. I mean, they lost Game 7 overtime to Pittsburgh. So, like, I guess you could say, at the time, I guess that was, like, their move. I don't.
Yeah, Ottawa was in win now mode at that point.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I think they made the trade. But hey, screw it, man. Rangers fucking cashed in on that big time.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Dude, we literally got a guy in his prime, a second line center in his prime for a future first line star, and we got a second round pick out of that.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Oh, and let's not forget, we also sent a 7th rounder to Ottawa along with Brassard because you know damn well those 7th rounders are crucial for trades going through.
Hell yeah, you never know. They're crucial for those trades going through in GM mode in NHL.
Yeah, in franchise mode. Dude, they really are, though.
I'm just a savage, dude. I tried to bring back the core Rangers when I had the GMO going. So the first move I made was picked up Dan Girardi from free agency.
Nice.
Picked up Ryan McDonough. Picked up Strawman. I picked up Brian Boyle, who at the time when I picked him up was in free agency because he hadn't been signed by Florida yet. So I was literally just picking up all the old Rangers to try to get it going again, to get the cup. It wasn't going so well.
Dude, the last 2 years it's worked. My strategy in GM mode, sell off literally everyone that you can sell off. If you have players you can't trade, either buy them out or let their contracts run out. Get the highest draft picks possible. And then when you feel like you have a good, 6-7 guys, just sign all the top free agents in the same year. You're almost guaranteed to go to the Cup final if you're simulating.
Ladies and gentlemen, GM Mike Shades.
It's worked. It's worked in the past 2 NHLs, not including NHL 20.
Yeah, I haven't. I think that was this season I tried to do GM mode, but I haven't played in such a long time. I really just play online versus now, to be honest. But I actually did enter that gaming tournament, the World Gaming Tournament with EA Sports does. But unfortunately, I think that's an Ultimate Team, so I don't know how much of a shot I have in that. But hey, never know.
Dude, Ultimate Team is kind of mostly the reason why I just stopped playing. It was just such a broken mode.
Yeah, Ultimate Team's broken. I agree. That's why I just play online versus now. It's just you know what? There's just more. It's more even, in my opinion.
Yeah, because you don't have one guy doesn't have 99 overalls on his team.
Yeah, I know, that's ridiculous. But yeah, Mike, what do you think moving forward here? Let's talk. I mean, so obviously tomorrow, Brendan Lemieux is going to have his meeting with player safety. So I guess we're going to find out if the meeting's still happening with everything that's going on. But yeah, Lemieux's got the player safety hearing. We're both expecting a suspension.
Yeah, as we stated earlier.
So, yeah, I mean, it's so crazy to talk. I mean, what do you think is going to happen moving forward here? We kind of talked about it in the beginning, but I guess there's nothing that we could really do. I guess we got to just really play everything by ear,
Yeah, actually, I got a question about the Lemieux thing. Say he does get suspended, but the team is already missing games. Do you think they're going to start the suspension if he does get one, when they resume games?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because I feel like at that point, then, if you're going to give him, a minus on the suspension, on the games they're not playing, you might as well just not even give him a suspension. Then it's just useless.
Yeah. Although at the same time, though, I have a feel
lucky. I think he actually. I may have misspoke earlier talking about Lemieux in the past getting suspended. That was actually, I think he only got fined for what he did. It was against the Sharks. I do remember that. Funny enough, that Donskoy's old team.
Yeah.
But Yeah, he did get a fine earlier in the year, so I don't know how much that plays into getting suspended, but definitely wasn't a good hit.
Hey, all I know is Ryan Ellis didn't get suspended earlier in the season, and it was arguably... Actually, no, it probably was a worse headshot than the one Lemieux laid.
That's true. But listen,
last night.
That's
But
also been
reputation penalty or reputation.
That's also been a very pretty heated discussion topic of NHL this year is how terrible the player safety and how inconsistent they've been.
No, it's been awful.
I mean, they're inconsistent on a lot of things. Goaltender interference, for example.
Yeah, and headshots being the most important one, and they still can't get that right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to me, it's like any headshot, it's one that's a blatant headshot to me has to be a suspension.
Yeah,
like,
it has to be an automatic suspension.
There shouldn't be, like, certain cases where, like, it is a headshot and they don't get a suspension. Like, it just has to be mandated, in my personal opinion.
Dude, if it was up to me, a blatant headshot, you should automatically get 3 games, and for each repeat offense, the suspension gets doubled.
Yeah.
So it'll go from 3 to 6 to 12 to 24. If you don't learn your lesson by then, like the 5th headshot suspension, you should honestly just be out of the league.
That's a little bit insane, right?
It's fucking ridiculous. Like, seriously, those people, I don't understand how they have jobs because they're just so bad at them.
I know what we can end this on.
Hit me.
We'll make it a fun thing. All right.
I like fun things.
Obviously, with the way that Zibanejad's been playing, I guess we're going to find out here, bearing how many games are left in the season, if that's the case. You think Zibanejad get the 50-goal mark?
Now, see, the real problem with this is if the teams aren't allowed to practice together or anything, and they miss a ton of games, I mean, that can cause a player to go cold very quickly.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
This is my thing. Like, I feel like Zibanejad could probably get like 45, 47. In all honesty, if he played the full season, he probably would have hit 50.
Yeah, I would. I'll go with you on that one.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that would make him also the 3rd player ever to score 50 goals for the Rangers, right? I think only Graves and Yager have done that.
Jaromir.
But, man, just next level, dude. And the crazy thing is that we talk about how good Zibanejad's been recently, but like we can't put on the back burner how nasty Panarin's been the entire season. Like, I think as of recently, like we've kind of sucked Zibanejad off, which is totally acceptable. But I mean, this guy Panarin's just an absolute savage.
Yeah, seriously.
69 games, 95 points, dude.
Okay, I just looked this up out of curiosity. Zibanejad, like I had a feeling this was the case, but Zibanejad is shooting by far at a career best percentage of 19.7.
Yeah, it's pretty high. Even Panarin's at 15.3. Also, Panarin's a plus 36. So, listen,
the most flawed stat in hockey.
It's a tough call, but while we're talking about Panarin, we might as well mention. I mean, dude, he's got to be up for some sort of award this year, right? I mean, I know it's hard to say because of the way like Draisaitl's played, but it's like Panarin's been like consistently good all year. Like he has not. There hasn't been like maybe 1 or 2 games that he's played kind of trash, but like he's been probably the most consistent player on the Rangers, I would say.
Offensively, at least, yeah.
Yeah, offensively. Yeah.
Now, see, here's the thing: if I had the ability to vote in the actual MVP race, my vote is going to McKinnon.
Think so?
Yeah, because, dude, friggin' Landeskog and Rantanen both missed significant time.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, you saw their
and part of it was at the same time.
Did you see that injury lineup, Shades, from last night? It was insane. In almost I don't know if you saw like that little screenshot that they showed.
Actually, no, I didn't.
Oh, dude,
No,
it was hilarious.
I was at the bowling alley, so.
Oh, I'll read it off for you. Ready?
Oh, please, I need to hear this.
All right, so this is injury report. Obviously, we just talked about Rangers with Chris Kreider and Hedel out. Avalanche, Nathan McKinnon, lower body, Mikko Rantanen, Burakovsky, Kadri, Calvert, Grubauer.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, that's crazy. That's 6 guys out. And not just any, like, trash guys. Like, you're talking about two guys from the top, one of the top lines in the NHL, as well as not a bad goalie either.
Yeah,
so.
Dude, that's another thing that's pissing me off about last night. I mean, friggin'
The
the Avalanche were literally missing their top 2 forwards and their second line center, and Rangers still lost.
I know. It's unbelievable.
I'm just throwing this out into the open right now. I'm putting this on record because I've been saying this for weeks upon weeks. This team is not making the playoffs. We play a miserable game against the San Jose Sharks, which we somehow squeak out a win. We play awful against the Devils. That's 2 bottom 5 teams right there. We haven't beaten a top 5 team since like January.
Yeah.
And
honestly,
we lose to a team who, like I just said, is missing their 2 top forwards and their second line center.
Listen, I'm going to disagree with you in this sense because I feel like when the Rangers play teams that they should beat, they play down to them, but I feel like they can play up to their opponents.
Here's another thing, though. The entire month of February, we had arguably the easiest schedule in the league because we were taking advantage of teams that were going through rough patches and playing terrible. And as soon as the calendar turned to March, all of a sudden we play teams... I'm just going to look up the schedule real quick because I forgot off the top of my head who we were playing. We play Philly in the last day of February. We play Philly first day of March. Then we play St. Louis. 2 teams, especially Philly, that are playing well. Philly was on an absolute streak, and we didn't look good either of those games. St. Louis, we looked good, which was probably one of our best games in the last...
Yeah, that was
month.
A great defensive game.
Yeah, that was arguably our best game the last month. Washington going into that game, they weren't playing well at all. They were giving up. They gave up 3 goals in like 9 consecutive games going into that game. And then we play terrible against New Jersey. Dallas. We played great the first 40 minutes. Third period wasn't that good, and then Colorado. We played pretty damn well, and we don't come out with the win. So, I don't know. There's just a lot of things about this team that just don't make a lot of sense.
For me, I want to say...
And also, look at our left defense. We have Stahl, Smith, and then Lindgren, who is our best defenseman. He's a rookie. So,
listen, this is what I'll say about the Rangers. This is what I personally think. I think we can sneak into the playoffs because of Shesterkin, because the way he's played has just been next level. I think that the Rangers can hop on his back. I mean, he obviously steals a lot of games for us. He's 10-2, so that really goes to show you how nasty he's been. But for me, I think ultimately, when it comes to winning playoff series, I think we're going to get exposed in front of the net on defense. That's obviously it's our weakest point. On defense, is scoring below the circles. Team scoring on us, I should say, below the circles because our defense in front of the net's terrible. We can have 3-4 guys in front of the net. One guy on the other team, he picks up the puck 9 times out of 10, scores with 4 guys in front.
That's a Shell classic.
And I'm just saying, though, to me, that's what I think. Like, I think we have a chance to get into the playoffs, granting what happens with the season, because of Shesterkin. But this is what I think, too. I'm like, dude, if we can sneak in, you never know. Because, listen, the postseason's a whole other season. So just to get in, you never know, dude. If Shesterkin's hot, you never know, man.
Well, okay. Here's another thing I have. Our bottom 6, they couldn't score from, the end of December to about the game against Washington.
Listen, this is It's true.
That's a 2 months. That's a 2 month period where your bottom six was not scoring, and your Panarin and Zibanejad were literally carrying this team offensively alongside Fox and D'Angelo.
Listen, that's true. I'm not going to lie, but when you have two solid lines like that can handle it, it might be enough, honestly. This is why we got somebody like Panarin, though.
Oh, and let's also not... That is true. That is true. But let's also not forget, Strome has quietly been playing like crap lately.
Yeah, he hasn't been as good.
That's just another reason. Dude, there's a lot of red flags about this team, and there's just too many for me to put my belief in them to make the playoffs. Just to put it simply.
I mean, it's unfortunate that we really couldn't finish out the season, because I think there's a lot of winnable games for us. If that, unfortunately, if we can't, like, Arizona has not been good. We can beat Arizona. We can beat Pittsburgh. They haven't been that good either. They've been terrible. They've been probably one of the worst teams since the deadline.
No, Pittsburgh hasn't been playing well. You're right.
And we were playing them back to back. And then we're also playing Buffalo, who we've already destroyed a couple times. Columbus, another team that we can beat. Washington, Tampa, that's always up in the air. We can beat the Panthers as well, because they've been terribly inconsistent.
Dude, you want to know something funny about the Panthers? They're somehow magically 1 point back of the Leafs.
I know, because the Leafs are just terrible.
Wait a second. I might have misspoke there. They are 3 points back of the Leafs with a game in hand. So, just to clarify. But yeah, like a week ago, they were like 8 points out, I feel like.
Yeah, it's insane. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to find out what's going to happen with the schedule here. But I guess, I don't know what we're going to watch in the meantime, Shades. We're just going to have to watch old highlights.
Yeah, I guess. Or you can just do what I'm going to do and just friggin' catch up on some other stuff and binge something on Netflix or YouTube.
That's a good point.
Hey, dude, I'm actually going to have time to do that now. I mean, like, it kind of sucks because of the circumstances around it, but, I mean, there's stuff that I've been wanting to watch for months now, so... I mean, that's the positive I'm taking out of this.
Hell yeah.
So.
Well, I'm working from home Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week, kid, so...
yeah, dude, you're working from home. My job is refusing to close, and it's a high school, which makes even less sense.
Yeah, eventually it will. Don't worry, kid.
Dude, I don't know. I literally, from what everyone's saying, it doesn't look like they're going to close.
Yeah, public schools, they don't close public schools for anything. So,
yeah.
Maybe you might be screwed.
Hey, dude, all I can do, because I'm touching boxes, I'm basically the guy who takes in deliveries. I'm wearing those friggin' latex gloves. I'm washing my hands all the time. I'm just trying not to touch my face. Got to keep it safe. Better safe than sorry.
That's right. All right, kid. That's all I've got.
Hold on. I forgot. I wanted to bring this up like 10 minutes ago, but now that we have nothing else to talk about, now's a good time to bring it up. And I think it was Liam that texted in our mini group chat last night. He texted something along the lines of, is it just me or does Quinn seem like he hates Hank?
Oh, yeah.
Because, dude, in my personal opinion, there is no reason that in Georgiev's last start, I'm blanking because I'm friggin' tired right now, against whoever he played, there is no reason he should have started that game over Hank.
Well, he started last night. Is that what you meant?
Hold on. I told you I missed the first 2 periods, so Georgiev was in net because I really was too tired to pay attention.
Yeah, Georgiev was playing net last night.
Okay, yeah. In my personal, he had no business starting that game.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I would have liked to see Lundqvist play, especially after the way he came in against the Devils. Not that it actually mattered during that game, but I just thought moving forward they should have given him another shot, especially because they kind of left him out to dry in the Philly game.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's Shesterkin's probably going to get the next start whenever that's be. So this break's really going to just hurt Lundqvist even more. Unfortunately, it's pretty sad, but I agree with you.
Dude,
I would have played him last night.
Dude, honestly, if I'm Hank And now I don't know what his inner mindset is, but like say he does have the mindset of, okay, well this team's trying to screw me. If I had that mindset of, oh, you're trying to screw me? All right, well I'm going to screw you by not requesting a trade and you're going to have to live with my cap hit next year. Like, wouldn't you have that mindset too? If you if you felt like you were being screwed?
Yeah.
Listen,
if he felt like he was being screwed, I mean, his best bet would just be to request a trade.
Yeah, but who's going to take the contract too? That's another thing. All the teams with cap space seemingly found a goalie out of nowhere.
Yeah, but it depends, man. I think it's all circumstance. Like, you can have a goalie, but are you going to have a goalie of Hank's caliber in the playoffs? That's the real question.
It's true.
I still think he can play at that level in the playoffs, especially. So.
Well, I mean, it's been 3 years now, so we don't know. And he's 37 now. Or actually, no, he's 38, actually. Fuck.
I still think he's got it, dude.
Where did the fucking time go? Oh, I still think he's got it, too. But I think I think he's been getting so screwed out of playing games lately.
Nah, I agree, man. I mean, listen, I think right now the whole fan base is kind of turned against him a little bit, which is kind of disgusting.
Just to clarify, I'm not saying he should start every game. I'm saying he deserves a start, just because like Georgiev's had 2 stinkers very recently, and yeah. I mean Hank's last start was a stinker too. But I mean, look at the way the team played in front of him. He didn't deserve that. No goalie deserves that.
Yeah. I mean, we that's kind of been like the tale of the tape with Hank the last like 2-3 seasons. Like, I just feel like we just have not played good hockey in front of him. And I mean, obviously when Hank was in his prime, the guy had some good defense. Can't deny. I mean, it wasn't like
pretty good
elite superstar status defense, but we had solid defensemen and Hank was solid. So.
Yeah, having a guy like Panarin and Zibanejad having the year he's having just goes to show you how much the Rangers wasted Hank's prime. Like, it really does. Because, dude, Hank back in the day was just insane.
Yeah, he was, man. I agree. So, I guess we'll see what's going on moving forward, kid. We got to just play everything by ear.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they don't cancel AEW, because I look forward to that every week, man. You got to start watching this. You got to start watching this shit.
Yeah, I know. I should give it a shot.
Dude, JR on commentator, Chris Jericho, John Moxley.
I know, right? They got Chris Jericho and JR. That's enough right there.
And they got the Young Bucks. So, and Kenny Omega. But you have no idea who the fuck those 3 guys are. So, all right. I'm done.
All right, kid.
Thank you, everybody, for... I was about to say watching. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We post the Podbean... Jesus Christ, this is how fucking tired I am. We post the podcast to YouTube and Podbean. We try and record every week, but it's been about 2 weeks since our last episode, so that's good for us. Follow us on Twitter at Backup Blue Pod. We will... Actually, I don't know when we're going to be back, because if there's no games, there's really nothing to talk about. Say there is no games for a month, we probably won't post an episode until the draft lottery, because there would just be... unless we find something to talk about, and... Yeah, dude, unless we find something to talk about and just put like a 20-minute episode just to put an episode out. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Thank you, everyone.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for listening again. And stay safe. Wash your goddamn hands. Try not to touch your face. And for the love of God, sneeze into a fucking tissue or the friggin' bend in your arm. Don't sneeze into your goddamn hands. Major pet peeve of mine. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.